Auditory isn't the only thing that remains hidden. Here's your look at the NECA Toys Assassin's Creed Brotherhood Ezio Auditore Roleplay Gauntlet. This Assassin's Creed Gauntlet replica is about as realistic as it gets. Part of Ezio Auditore's garnets, it perfectly recreates the gauntlet in the Assassin's Creed series. Aside from the beauty of the armband itself, it features spring-loaded action and a rubber-like blade. Ezio's gauntlet comes in two separate parts, the outer vambrance and the inner wrist guard, where its spring-loaded action resides. It comes in a one-size-fits-most with adjustable straps to fit almost any forearm. You don't mind if I slip into something a little more lethal, do you? Before, though, we get a closer look at the Assassin's Creed 2, the hidden blade of Ezio Auditore, I'd like to thank the folks over at NECA that were first kind enough to provide this sample. The sites that have this currently listed show it as a pre-order with the estimated release drop of April 2025, for the price asking of $43.99. The gauntlet actually consists of two parts, an outer shell and an inner gauntlet. And of course, we're going to be dissecting that and the details of that in a second. First, though, let's also grab the tape measure and just see how big this actually is. From the one end of the gauntlet to the other, you're looking at Ezio's hidden blade being about 8.5 inches in length, or roughly about 21.5 centimeters long. Now, this role-playing replica can easily be worn on your forearm. You can also have this displayed on the shelf. I think if I go the latter, because I'm not going to be obviously wearing this around all day, going to the work probably would be a bit of an issue if I have a hidden blade concealed behind my sleeve. But yeah, if you did want to have this displayed, I'm sure you probably could even order online from maybe like an Amazon site, for example, like a mannequin arm, and then basically just have the gauntlet displayed on that. I did though want to show you guys what this looks like before I actually put this on. Again, as already mentioned, it consists of two parts, the outer vambrance, and then inside you've got yourself the hidden gauntlet. They are very simple to remove, but I did certainly want to show you guys what they look like collectively. Nice detail done here on the top. I will say also too, this has a lot more weight than you would expect, even though it is comprised of molded plastic. I mean, even just to pick this up the way that it is, I know probably most of it is the mechanics that are adding to the weight and the volume of this, but it does feel heavy, and that's a good sign to see. It's got some nice molding detail done all to this. Of course, you got the crest there on the top, all done here in cast in silver plastic. They have added a little bit of weathering there to this as well, so it doesn't look like it's clean and pristine. Of course, on the bottom of this is the retractable blade. It does have, again, two parts. The parts themselves are very easy to remove. The outer vambrance will, of course, be the lighter of the two things. And then the actual hidden blade component piece. The one thing that does lose a little bit of the illusion, and I can certainly understand why they felt the need to add the sticker, is just to tell you that this is it is not a toy, and it's not used for children. Keep the blade away from any eyes, obviously. The blade does pop out. It actually pops out via this button right here. Even though it does have a good force to it, the end of the blade is made of a very soft plastic for obviously safety issues. When pushing the blade back in place, and you'll kind of see this in a second, pushing the blade back in usually results in having the back, or the end of the blade, I should say, bent. Again, we're going to talk all about that. In the end, though, when eventually I will have this displayed, I'm probably just going to peel the sticker off. I mean, I already know that this is a replica. I already know I'm not going to be giving this to my daughter to walk around the house playing with. So again, like for me, it loses some of the illusion, but I can understand why NECA had to feel the need to add the safety sticker. Nice detailing also done to the back here where the button is. The button will depress, and of course that will eject out the blade. And then for the actual main piece of this, the part that's going to go around your arm first, it looks like in the way they've sculpted the plastic that it's made of hide or leather. It does look good. It doesn't have much really in the way of give though. Even though there are adjustable straps on the back of this, I've tried this on a couple of times now. Even though it is, they say like one size fits most. I probably fall more to the category of most because it does fit my arm, but I did notice though that the blade, the actual gauntlet piece does feel like it's a little tight. It's a little on the tight side. For me, again, like I'm probably just going to end up displaying this though on the shelf. And again, you can either have it displayed as two separate components, or again, you can just slide the two in together. And obviously when you're sliding it, the blade is going to be on the inside of your forearm. So this is the part that's going to go basically the opposite way. And when you're sliding it, don't slide it from the front, slide it from the back. That seems to be the easiest just because the gauntlet is wider here on the back. So in the way of actually putting this on, you got yourself Velcro here, two Velcro straps. Obviously, in order to get this around your arm, you're going to have to first undo the Velcro. This one strap isn't so much isn't the issue because it's got a much wider. Well, I mean, you can get your arm easily more on it. I had a harder time actually getting this part of the strap on there. So what I really need to do is kind of loosen up, give a little more slack to this, almost even to the point where you feel like you're going to have to because again, like you're going to put it on the inside of your arm. You have to really make sure that there's enough slack on this side of it, and you basically just slide it up the arm. Now, if you choose, though, you could also just take the straps off completely, put it then on your arm, but it's always really a hard thing to get the strap of the Velcro then looped back through that tiny little slit. So if you can, you might find yourself having an easier time of just getting it as relaxed as you can, and then kind of fighting to get your arm in there. So with that done, now we go ahead and just tighten up the straps. I mean, it's fairly comfortable, but it does feel like, because there's no real give here to the plastic, I mean, it does feel like you basically got like almost like a brace on your arm. There's not much mobility you can really get there. Now, that's just with the hidden blade alone. If you then want to get yourself the Avambrance, this basically will again slide onto the top this way. And it slides pretty easily too, even though the top of it does have a plastic strap. There's also a buckle here as well, but the buckle doesn't open up very well. And being that it's also made of plastic, you will want to be careful that you don't accidentally break it. This basically will just slide in place. You can easily go in there and tighten it after the fact. And then this will basically, we'll just undo the strap here because it has to go over top of the gauntlet. Slide it over in place. And then now once that's in place, then go in there and tighten up the strap. And just kind of get it to the little adjustment size that you need to have. I usually have it like the second hole from the end, or you can also just leave it slacked and relaxed like that as well. And then you're good to go. Like I said, it does restrict some mobility. I mean, obviously I can still move my hand around. My arm, on the other hand, does feel like it's a little more tighter. If you've ever had to take, for example, like your blood pressure, and of course that strap that they have to put around your arm to test your blood pressure, that does feel sort of the same level of tightness as what I'm getting right now. Now, again, I could have probably made that a little bit more slacked on the strap, but you also want to make sure too it's not loose on your arm. It's definitely not loose on my arm. And then the last thing you need to then do is press this button right here. Now, the button does eject this at quite a hard force. You can see as I'm pressing this, there goes the blade right there. Now, this part here is more of a harder plastic, only in the sense that even though it's hollow, it's an actual plastic piece. As we get to the end of the blade, though, the blade is more of definitely a softer plastic, just so that obviously you can't be walking around with a real blade. Even if it was just regular hard plastic, the point of that alone, I could see why you'd want to keep this far away from your eyes. Now, one thing, though, is when you're putting the blade back into the gauntlet, push this down in first, and there's no real way around this. Every time I find that I've pushed the blade down, it snaps in place, and I always feel like I end up bending. See, you can see the end of the point there. I've just bent it just a little bit. Again, I'm probably only going to be doing this for certainly the sake of just the review alone. I'm not going to, again, be walking around, going around my day-to-day doings, not going to the grocery store, for example, walking around with this gauntlet thing on me. But again, like, it's got a good bit of force to it. And obviously, too, when you're ejecting this, you want to make sure that your hands are clear out of the way. Because if your hands are in the way, even though this is really a softer blade, I've clipped myself a couple of times on my finger. I mean, it doesn't draw blood at all, but you certainly do feel it because just of the force of the blade. So again, when you eject this, you want to just make sure that your hand is out for that. And again, it ejects really well. Like I said, like the gauntlet itself works really, really well. It does what it needs to do exactly. I mean, like if you wanted to have a prop replica, whether you're planning to cosplay, for example, or even just like myself, who likely will only be displaying this on my shelf. One thing I certainly will consider doing, though, is getting myself ordering online from like Amazon. Let's just undo these straps here. I'm probably going to be going on to Amazon and see if I can order myself. Yeah, it's always this one strap just because it's a lot tighter. Now, again, like you can just easily detach, just remove this strap because obviously it's going to be a lot easier to do this. Let's just get this out completely. I want to make sure, of course, you got it a little more slacked here so I can actually fit there we go, fit the Velcro through. And then that's a lot easier. And then obviously once this is now off, once it's off your arm, you just go back in there and re-loop the Velcro. I think mannequin hands, you can get yourself some decent black mannequin hands. I've ordered actually a couple in the past for some of my Freddy Krueger gloves. I might just find myself doing the exact same thing here for Auditory's reverse blade here as well. And again, we're just going to slide that back in place. I mean, it could really stand also on its own the way that it is now. Let's just bring the camera up a little bit. It can be displayed the way that you're seeing right now. At least the bottom of it is flat enough. that it's stable enough. The thing you will want to make sure, though, is that you don't want to bring the vamprints further forward, because if you do, that's when it starts to kind of lean back and topple over. If you have it balanced at about like that, it seems to freestand on its own easily. But again, I might even consider getting myself a mannequin hand just so it looks a little nicer. Looks certainly more polished on the shelf. It's, again, a really nice replica of what we get from the Assassin's Creed 2 game. I mean, Editore, obviously has some weapons at his disposal. Probably the most recognizable one, the one that people tend to think of the most, is obviously the Hidden Blade. Again, this one is going to be a pre-order right now on many sites. There was, I think, one released in 2012, but the lot number date actually on the barcode for the box here shows 2024. So this is a more current release. It could be also, too, a reissue of the initial Hidden Blade that NECA had released about 10 years or so ago. And if it is, it certainly is a good chance to get it if you didn't get the chance to get it before. You know, the more that I think about it, maybe ordering a mannequin hand off of Amazon isn't a good idea after all. I've had the issue in the past of ordering the wrong style of hand for my Nightmare on Elm Street gloves, thinking first of all a wider spread finger would work better for a Nightmare glove because I can get each of the individual finger blades on there, but it never works. When you think about it really too, you're putting your hand inside of a glove, you can move your fingers around, you can't do that with a mannequin, so it just ends up becoming more difficult than anything else. You're also going to have to factor into the length of the arm. Not only are you dealing, though, with something that's going to go over your hand, but in this case, though, with the Assassin's Creed replica, you're going to have to also put this on your forearm, too. So you're going to have to order a long enough arm for your mannequin hand. Plus, too, you're getting also the outer vamprints that has to fit around that forearm. I struggle a bit to get even on my arm with the adjustable straps as they are. I still struggled a little bit to get this on my own arm. I can imagine how much more of a trouble I'm going to try to get that on a mannequin's. Now, this one, again, is right now as a pre-order on many online sites. Some that I've looked at least show an estimated arrive date of April 2025, based at least on the lot number on the bottom of the box showing 2024. Now, again, I've seen images of a 2012 release of an Assassin's Creed Ezio Auditore prop replica. I don't know if they've made much changes really between the two blades. Maybe they've advanced the mechanisms built inside the gauntlet. But again, like this one was dated for 2024, and I would imagine that's the one that's currently showing on online sites for the asking price of $43.99. Big thank you again to the folks over at NECA Toys that did provide this sample. This was the Assassin's Creed 2, the Hidden Blade of Ezio Auditore prop replica that we had the chance to have a look at in this review. What do you guys think of this? Let me know down below in the comment section. Is this one that you guys could see yourselves picking up? At least the benefit of this too is it's freestanding. You don't even really need the idea of getting a mannequin hand. Maybe you're asking for more trouble than what it's worth. On its own, standing on its own, short of maybe the sticker to tell us that it's a replica, I think they've done a really nice job on this. If you guys did enjoy this video, want to do it a solid and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit that subscribe, turn on that bell, and of course come back. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.